If you're in your 20s or maybe even 30s and 40s, but in your career, it's like you're driving with a broken GPS, meaning you know you need to get somewhere, but every turn feels wrong. This video is for you. I'm 32 now, soon to be 33, and in my 20s, that's exactly how I felt. But I feel like I made a few crucial decisions in my career that's helped me get to where I am today, doing what I really enjoy, and that is leading partnerships and business development at a software company that's growing called Lucid, and being a content creator, teaching to hundreds of thousands of people how to be great communicators at work. And I know that had I not been strategic, this is not where I'd be today. I'd probably be still stuck in a lower paying role, not enjoying what I do. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear vision on how to go for the career that you want. And these are crucial steps that not many people talk about. So let's dive in. So the first thing is to get clear on what you want and why you want it. Let me explain with my own story. See, 10 years ago, I'm 22 years old, and I get my dream job, which is to be at the National Basketball Association out of school. And mind you, I wanted to be the next Asian commissioner of the NBA or the CEO, because let's face it, I'm vertically challenged, so I can't really be a basketball player professionally. But when I get there, it's very clear that this is not a fit. First and foremost, I'm underpaid. I'm making $45,000 a year out of school, and I just don't feel like I'm being appreciated. I'm in a very bureaucratic, highly political organization too, so it doesn't make me feel like I'm able to move as quickly as I want to. And so as I'm there, I'm just feeling more and more miserable. Even though on paper, anytime I go to a cocktail party, it's like, oh my gosh, you work at the NBA. So behind the scenes, I panic. And I do what every ambitious person in their 20s does when they feel lost, which is I apply to business school. But not just one, like almost all of them. Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, MIT, Chicago, Columbia, you name it. And guess what? Every single one of them rejected, waitlisted, rejected. And 2.5 years into my career, I'm feeling heartbroken because I hope business school would be my lifeline to get a restart, and it just wasn't. So instead of stepping back and thinking strategically about what I wanted to do in my career, I go into full panic mode. And maybe you've done this too. I spam applied hundreds of companies trying to apply cold. There was no focus, there was no clarity. Any gig that seemed remotely interesting, Preston Chin's application's there. I'm just hoping someone would rescue me, but no one did. No one even took a first interview. But then something interesting happens. I'm sitting in my apartment, it's a quiet Sunday morning, and my uncle calls me and he asks how I'm doing. I say I'm feeling depressed, and he says, Preston, I want you to do something for me right now. Grab a piece of paper, draw a line right down the middle, and on the top left corner, write down what? And on the top right corner, write down why. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, what I want you to do is write down one sentence, what do you want in your next role? And then right next to it, write down why do you want it? Limit it to just your top 5 things, and we'll workshop it together, but make sure that it's a crisp single sentence for each thing you want and each reason why you want it. So after workshopping this, I had several things in mind, and I'll share 2 of them. One was I wanted to be making more data-driven decisions. And I wanted this because I felt like in my previous role, I was just throwing spaghetti at a wall and nothing really seemed to stick. The second thing I wanted was to be more creative in my role, because being creative, getting a chance to take new ideas and pitch them to clients was something that was quite energizing for me. And so when I wrote down those 5 things, it became very clear what were the type of gigs that I wanted and what were the ones I didn't want. Like, for example, I knew that I didn't necessarily want to be a data analyst. I knew that I wanted to be more in the marketing field where I could take data and actually apply it to be creative and help drive business and revenue. But the key is, once you have this, you don't need to just spray and pray with job applications. I instead was able to go back to my network and have very strategic conversations, including with my career mentor at the time, who was once my supervisor when I was interning at ESPN. And he was the SVP of marketing at a company called CBS Interactive. He reaches out to me, we grab lunch, and everything that he said about the role seemed like a great fit for me. But the thing is, that what's and whys is not just crucial to help you identify what could be out there, how you can go comb your network. It's actually really helpful in the interviewing process itself. Because when you're being interviewed by a hiring manager, you can go ahead and ask a very simple question at the end of the interview, which is something like this. Can I just walk you through a list that I prepared, it'll just take 2 minutes. And they might say, what's in the list? And then you can say exactly what you've prepared. It's a list of my top 5 things I'm looking for in my next role and why I want them. And after I go through the list, I love your honest take as to how well you think this role fits. And see, when you do this, it'll actually make you stand out for 2 reasons. Number 1 is it makes you seem strategic because you're not just going to take any gig, you're going for the one that's the right fit for you. And the second thing is it gives you valuable data because you don't want to go for a role that's clearly not aligned to your values or your interests. It will help you cut through the clutter. So if you're feeling stuck, make sure to check out my 5 what's and whys template. You'll see it in the description below. You can just click it. You don't need to sign up or anything, and you can start filling out what it is that you might be looking for and why, and use my example as a guide. Now, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and I'd appreciate it. Now, here's the second thing I wish I knew in my 20s, which is the importance of communication. And this is what my career mentor had said to me. It's not about what you do in your role, it's about how you communicate what you do that ultimately matters. When someone would ask me, what do you do in your role? I would just vomit out tasks that I do. Like, oh, I manage internal collaboration tools, I build dashboards, I help people coordinate various projects, because I thought being accurate was enough. I thought if I just listed everything that I did, people would connect the dots. But that's just not how successful people communicate. Because if you want to elevate in your career, you have to speak like an executive. And executives don't speak like they're just completing tasks. They instead think in terms of problems and solutions. They think in terms of stories that make sense to other people who don't do what they do. That's when I started using this simple framework to communicate my value pretty much everywhere in any single one of my jobs. And it's PCSB. It stands for problem, cause, solution, benefit. So to demonstrate this, let me take an example from one of my students in the Impromptu Speakers Academy, but I won't show his name or his company affiliation. I'll just give the generalized example for his own privacy. But here's how it would go. So when I asked him, what does his company do? He ended up saying something like, well, we connect businesses with customers. We do this by leveraging data to find the most targeted customers relevant to businesses that we're servicing. And I hear that and I'm like, okay, I know you're trying, but what are you saying exactly? It's not engaging, it's boring, it's filled with jargon. Now, once we had him use the PCSB framework, here's what he ended up saying next. He said, so businesses are drowning in customer data, but actually looking for insights. And that's because most companies are collecting information without a strategy for turning it into action. So we build data systems that identify your highest value prospects and automate outreach to them. And the result is that our clients see 3x higher conversion rates and cut their customer acquisition costs in half. It's the same person, it's the same company, but the second version of that take is actually telling a story. It's creating urgency. It makes you lean in and you want to know more. And it's a lot better than just feature dumping everything that your company does. But the craziest thing that I see is that no one actually really teaches this stuff. In fact, I had to come up with that framework myself just by hearing people constantly speaking in presentations and noting down what I liked and what I didn't like. It's like we learn how to do the work, but we actually don't learn how to talk about our work. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to think about one project that you've worked on recently, and I want you to explain it to someone else who's not familiar with your project using PCSB. What's the problem that you're solving? Why is that problem costly to ignore? What did you do about it? And what were the results? And if you stumble through that, that's very, very normal. Most people do, but the more you practice, the clearer you will get. You won't just sound competent, you'll sound strategic. And if you want to practice speaking on the spot like this in real life scenarios, like job interviews, presentations, networking, tough meetings, that's exactly what we do inside of the ISA. And the link is in the description below for you to check it out. Now, the third shift that changed my career was not about what I knew, it was rather about what I shared. Because in August of 2022, I decided to flip my Instagram profile from private to public. I grabbed out this very smartphone and I recorded myself delivering a talking head video about how to be a better networker for TikTok. And that video got just about 200 views, even to this day. But it's one of the videos that I'm most proud of because it symbolizes my decision to put myself out there. It took me 2 hours to make, and honestly, I cringe watching it, but something clicked for me that day. I realized that I could teach people around the world that I didn't even know about a topic that I cared about, that I was passionate about, which was communication. And so I made a commitment that day that sounds kind of crazy looking back, but is still true, which is I decided I would post one video every single day for 2 straight years, and I'd see where I was at. And I did this not because I just wanted to be an influencer, not because I had this grand plan behind it, but rather I just had this belief back then that I still have today, which is that your personal brand is not a nice to have. It's an insurance policy. It's your moat if you ever want to build a business, because to me, product alone isn't king or queen. Distribution is king and queen. And your personal brand at the end of the day stays with you for life as long as you nurture it. But mind you, this is not easy. It took me about a year before I finally started seeing traction when one of my videos on TikTok blew up to over 3 million views. And that's the traction that I needed to go deeper and deeper. And fast forward to today, I have over 380,000 followers on TikTok, almost 270,000 on Instagram. I've coached hundreds of clients, and my business is just getting started with multiple revenue streams. And while I have this side business, I also have a full-time role as the head of business development at Lucid. And mind you, those first 2 things that I told you about really being intentional about your whats and whys and being a better, more intentional communicator helped me get to this point. It's gotten me to a career where I really enjoy it. I love meeting with partners, building relationships, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to balance doing that side business in the early mornings and very late nights. But here's what I want you to take away from all of this, which is if you want to build your own personal brand, it's important to get comfortable speaking on camera. It's important to not just record yourself once or twice, but to do it consistently, to post, no matter what the results. Now, the most important thing to remember is this. You don't necessarily have to speak in front of the camera, but I would just ask that you filter through 2 main questions. The first is, if not on camera, is there another format that works? Like writing, for example, whether it be on newsletter platforms like Substack or on platforms like X or LinkedIn. Perhaps it's not writing though. Maybe you just genuinely don't want to be on camera or teach, or you don't really care for that. Well, then my question would be, where can you polish your professional brand? Where can you polish it? Online interactions through networking, in person, getting yourself out there, getting out in local communities. Where can you be seen and heard? Because the best work does not happen in a silo. It happens when you're connected with individuals that care. And as you can see, I'm really passionate about putting myself out there, about building this side hustle. And I even decided to start a weekly newsletter called Side Hustle Stories, which you can subscribe to in the link below, where it just documents every single week the key lessons, the experiments that I'm running, building my side business while balancing my full-time gig as a head of BD. Now, if this helped, drop a comment and let me know which tip resonated with you the most. I read every single comment, and honestly, your stories inspire which videos I create next. And if you want more tips on how to advance in your career, make sure to check out this video where I teach you how to speak clearly and confidently on the spot at work.